Wish has collapsed at the box office, 5th place overall after this second weekend. And the Marvels, after 4 weeks, Disney is already saying they won't report the numbers any longer because, well, it's done. Stick a fork in the Marvels. It's over. Elon Musk, of course, said recently that consumers are boycotting Disney. Now we're examining whether or not that is true. We're also curious, is the public spat, the public conflict between Bob Iger and Elon Musk, part of that boycott? Has it exacerbated the situation of Disney? And is it in direct contrast to what Iger had to say recently when he said they were going to lower the noise? In our purview, the noise has never been louder, and the results for Disney never worse. Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel where we are putting Holly Weird through a wake-up call that they need to make money. And boy, was that call ever put out the last few days, as Elon Musk has stepped into the fray and has taken on the mouse messiah Bob Iger directly head-on at that New York Times summit the other day. Now, there's been a lot to cover in this regard, and we're going to continue covering it as best we can, but one of the things that happened was that Elon Musk, in addition to essentially taking on all of the corporations in the Western society at the top of the food chain, he also called out that perhaps Disney is facing a boycott from consumers. And so we're going to examine, based on this last week at the box office, whether or not that is true. Joining us to help explain entertainment and keep us ahead of the culture curve is Jonas J. Campbell, investigative reporter for ThatParkPlace.com and the co-anchor of That Park Place YouTube channel. Jonas, welcome.
Good to be here, and always glad to talk about this particular issue.
Jonas, I want to get your thoughts on Elon Musk before we start into the articles. He has taken on the entire corporate apparatus of the Western society, I think. I mean, you've got Amazon, Walmart, Apple, everybody is boycotting Elon. It seems to be under a false pretense that he is negative towards people of a certain type. That, I think, is ludicrous, and everyone knows it. It's just sort of a out in the open secret that they don't like Elon because they don't like Twitter/X, and they don't want it to exist because it's a place for people to have free discourse outside of the corporate narrative.
Right.
So,
it's very unpopular to like Elon Musk right now. They want to get invited to all their cocktail parties, and this seems to be the current ticket to entry.
So what do you think the bet is that Elon Musk is making here? What is his play? Or do you think that he just completely made a huge mistake? I mean, this is the man who lands rockets. What do you think his strategy is?
I don't know that this was necessarily strategy. I went through that whole Walter Isaacson Elon Musk book, and I would say that there are moments where he clearly needs someone above him, an advisor, to say, hey, maybe Elon, don't do that. But that being said, when you're worth $250 billion, when you're worth $250 billion, we're talking Scrooge McDuck money here. He doesn't play by the same rules as everyone else. That the idea that we need to play nice so that we can do business with other people, he's got a whole different perspective he's got to deal with than, say, you or I, if we want to deal with, I don't know, Jeff Bezos. Or if I want to deal with Jeff Bezos, I might send something nice out there and oh yeah, I would love to, work with Amazon or whatever. But if Elon Musk wants to work with Jeff Bezos, it is straight business, and I think he knows it. And so it doesn't matter what he says on some level, because he's got the capital and he's got the sway, and apparently he's got the genius to that they would come to him if they need him.
The fascinating thing here is that I'm not concerned about Elon Musk and his quality of life. He is going to live out as one of the wealthiest individuals to ever live, if not the wealthiest ever in the history of humanity. That said, we are hanging in the balance here, right? And the ability to have free discourse online, he's the only game in town. And I feel that and fear that if he exits Twitter/X, then those other companies are going to crack down harder than we have ever seen in the past. And we will move closer and closer into a control-oligarchy is what I'm going to call it, a technocracy. How's that for you?
There you go.
There you go. But Jonas, let's get into what Elon said about Disney. He said that consumers are already boycotting Disney, and this is fascinating also because it's not just Disney that's out against Elon. But Disney took the most public approach to it, which is the antithesis of what Bob Iger said when he said we're going to lower the volume or lower the noise. Now Disney is front and center. They are the face of taking down Twitter, X, Elon, etc. And so they are the most public place for people to boycott if that's happening. Let's take a look now out of this article out of Variety by Rebecca Rubin. The Marvels ends box office run as lowest grossing MCU movie in history. And we're going to see if we think that a boycott is actually in place. There's nothing heroic about the final box office performance of The Marvels. The superhero sequel is officially the lowest grossing installment in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And folks, that inflation or not, it doesn't matter. After 4 weeks on the big screen, the comic book tentpole is running out of steam with $80 million in North America and $197 million globally. There would typically be an optimism that attendance could rebound over the busy holiday season. But Disney apparently doesn't expect that to be the case. The studio wrote on Sunday in a note to press, with the Marvel's box office now winding down, we will stop weekend reporting of international global grosses on this title. And that suggests that they are simply done. They don't even want to talk about this movie anymore. Jonas, this is, I think, we talked about this. Strange World might have been this quick, but prior to the last 2 years, Disney had never thrown in the towel, never waved the white flag this quickly. This is crazy that 4 weeks into a Marvel film, they're done. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to report on it. It's over. Your thoughts?
We can't just focus on one aspect of Disney right now. They are successful in, I was thinking about Disney Animation and Wish and Lucasfilm with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And I'm trying to think what other Pixar, Elemental, I guess, had a success this year overseas. Maybe, kinda iffy. I don't know that they broke even on that one. So I would say that we're all focused on the Marvels here. It looks like pretty much every aspect of Disney trying to affect culture has fallen flat on its face this year.
Yes, and I was watching a prominent YouTuber who analyzes this sort of thing. And his curiosity was, and he was saying this, I think, honestly, he was questioning how it is that all of Disney studios have collapsed simultaneous, right? So you've got Disney Animation, you've got Pixar, you've got Lucasfilm, you've got Marvel, and they have all collapsed at the same time. And you and I, Jonas, and Valiant Renegade and others in this space, Midnight's Edge, etc., we've all kind of known that what happened is that the company was transformed under Bob Iger. And this Reimagine Tomorrow program was brought in, and they essentially decided that they were no longer going to select people based on merit, but they were going to pick people based on immutable differences. I think we are watching the corporate collapse that happens when you decide that you're going to invert how you should select employees and how you should reward employees. And I think it's a warning sign to everybody. So in that regard, Jonas, do you think that this is a boycott, or do you think this is people fleeing from bad content?
I think that people have. You're right there. Whatever you're hinting at there with the boycott versus just consumer apathy towards this company, I think it's the latter. A boycott. Okay, Lightyear was an example of a boycott. Strange World, probably a boycott, but I think that most people were unaware that that movie came out because they didn't market it. When I say Strange World, most people don't even know what it is. And that was the 61st animated feature from the Walt Disney Company. If anyone is watching this who doesn't know what Strange World was, it also had a gay romance in it. Not an overstated gay romance, but yes, a gay romance in a kid's film, and also a strong environmental message in which they destroyed their only fuel source.
Now, Jonas, I'm going to push back a little bit because I do think that I do think that families, it has entered into their sphere, the normal families out there, just Joe and Jane who are trying to raise their kids. I think it's entered into their consciousness that Disney is no longer a company they can entrust their kids with.
Well, absolutely.
And I think that goes beyond apathy.
Right, but at the same time, and I'll also agree with you. We've covered this on That Park Place. Theater owner in Michigan was reporting that more than any other feature he has ever had in his theater, parents were asking, "Is this safe for kids?" So they're losing that younger demographic in an age when so much children's entertainment is out there and at our fingertips on Netflix. Coco Melon it seems to be the dominating force. And I'm so thankful for Bluey, which actually has quality and might, in fact, be just one of the best sitcoms of the last 10 years, bar none. And it's ostensibly aimed at preschoolers.
Well,
but it's
when's the last time a preschool show was consistently the top 5 or in the top 5 of all shows worldwide? I mean, that's crazy. But I'll say this.
But I want to go back to this really quick. This movie is not aimed at kids, though. I mean, it is aimed at kids in the way that everything that Disney makes is supposed to be aimed at 14 years and younger. But this movie is not aimed at preschoolers. This movie is not meant to inspire magic. This movie has lost all audiences. So this isn't. If it is a boycott, it's not a family boycott.
Okay, so that's a great point, Jonas. That makes this video worthwhile and this conversation worthwhile, folks. I think Jonas has stumbled upon, or perhaps more so, he has elucidated for all of us the idea that this is not consistent across all of the Disney brands. So Marvel, you're exactly right, Jonas. I think Marvel is dying because of apathy, specifically from the younger generation, which has been exposed to lower quality Marvel films, and there's not a brand loyalty built into those who started off with Phase 1. And so that apathy is killing them at the box office. On the other hand, Pixar and Disney studios, Disney Animation Studios, those probably are part of some sort of conscientious boycott by families, although up until recently not organized. That may be changing. Do you think that's more fair? And Star Wars is just a dumpster fire. So put that in a different category. They can't even release anything. So how can you boycott that which they are not proud enough to release in theaters?
It's a very good point. And to add to the reason that Star Wars is failing, the biggest series that they've released in recent memory was all based on an animated series that you really have to know the lore of that animated series in order to understand what in the world is going on. And even then, a lot of Star Wars fans are like, okay, what is this?
Ahsoka was one of the worst pieces of entertainment I have ever encountered in my life. The writing was absolutely atrociously bad. Horrible.
Just boring. Saved by the fact that we all love Ray Stevenson.
Now, let me show you, Jonas, how badly things are going for Disney, because I don't think this is not being well articulated by the analysts out there yet. And I want to throw an assist to this, because I think we need to be watching this weekend and talking about it far more in how bizarre it is. And bizarre, I think, in probably a good way. But this out of Entertainment Weekly by Lester Fabian Brathwaite. Hope I got that right. Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, tops box office, stomps all over Godzilla -1. It goes on to talk about Beyonce getting $21 million. And I know that Beyonce probably isn't happy about this because it makes her look like she's lesser than Taylor Swift, and so be it. But I would also suggest to the audience out there that, when we don't focus on how well this Beyonce film has done, we're not explaining entertainment and keeping you ahead of the culture curve in the way that we say we should. So we don't need to just skip over this, because the fascinating thing about Beyonce is that it was only released by AMC. So this more than $20 million haul domestically came out of a single theater chain. And that means that if this had been extrapolated out to all of the theater chains, then you could have been looking at a $60 million rollout. And that's really impressive. It's not T-Swift impressive, but it's half of that impressive, and half of that is still pretty darn impressive. Now, that I think is what happens when theaters are forced to go find somebody to carry the day when Disney falls down. And it suggests that if Disney is not there, the theaters will still go find success. They can and they will. And I think these concert event movies, they're something that we will likely see returning over and over again. And if you don't like Beyonce and you don't like T-Swift, that's fine, because maybe you're into Metallica, and maybe Metallica is the next thing. Or maybe you're into some other band. Whatever genre, whatever type of music you're into, be on the lookout. This is highly successful. The other thing is we've got Hunger Games in its third week hitting 14.5 million. And that really suggests to me, because it's, Rachel Zegler is not popular. And this is not a franchise doing well, and yet that's sufficient to get it to second place. And then finally, Jonas, I want people to notice that Godzilla -1 is a foreign film,
Gojira,
without a domestic distribution partner. So this is coming straight out of Toho International. It was a very limited release with half the screens of Wish, and yet it destroyed Wish. Wish comes in at 5th, even below Trolls Band Together with 7.4 million. And I don't see any other way, because Wish now is heading into Strange World territory. I don't see any way other than saying that families no longer trust Disney. I mean, you can't hit that kind of a number for Wish unless families are done with Disney.
Right.
Is there a counter argument at all?
No, I don't think there is a counter argument. Just to add to it, of course, Thanksgiving weekend is the weekend in which a lot of families want to go to the theater by default and then decide what movie they're going to see. And Wish, again, maybe if families are boycotting Disney and this older demographic is trying to decide what to watch, they chose to watch the Hunger Games prequel before they chose to watch Wish.
Good point. Now, to show folks out there the incongruencies that happen within the media industry and how they analyze movies and all of that, take a look at this sentence they have on Entertainment Weekly, where they say, the 37th Godzilla movie didn't have audiences in a panic, though the film was a hit in Japan before its U.S. release this weekend. Now, what they're trying to say there is that, audiences were not supercharged to go see this foreign film that is fully in Japanese with English subtitles, which has no distribution partner, which, by the way, cannot stay in theaters past, I think, January 1st for some contractual reasons. So everything was going against it. And yet, Jonas, this is what I want people to take away, is that when the quality is fantastic, good things happen. So despite the way that Entertainment Weekly wants to frame that, Godzilla Minus One breaks U.S. box office record with its $11 million opening for domestically, this out of MovieWeb by Stephen Thrash. Godzilla has broken the record for the biggest opening weekend ever for a live-action Japanese film in the United States. And I'm here to tell you, I got a feeling based on that A-plus cinema score. Let me say it again, A-plus cinema score, unheard of. I mean, that is awesome for a subtitled film. A-plus for a subtitled film. It's crazy. But given that kind of a score, this is going to have legs the size of Godzilla.
Let me also point out that
quality matters.
Quality matters. Also, the fact that this looks like it's fun, and you pretty much know exactly what you're going to get when you go into a Godzilla movie. And it's
not this one. Not this one. It's so much better than a Godzilla movie that it's just unbelievable.
Okay. All right.
This is some kind of magic.
I keep trying to convince my wife, no, this is the Godzilla film that's different. We need to go see this.
Your wife will love it. This is
you heard it here, folks. WDW Pros Review.
I'm telling you,
Godzilla movie your wife will love.
Listen. This Godzilla movie, and we talked about this on the Renegade Online show yesterday. The director for Godzilla, he is some kind of special, because it reminds me of taking the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990, I think was when that movie released. It's. I'm not trying to be offensive to Godzilla lovers out there. The big fans of Godzilla. I'm not trying to be cruel or anything, but it's kind of absurdist, right? A giant kaiju is attacking Japan over and over, and you get battles between giant creatures out of the sea. This is dealt with a level of humanity and care that is just phenomenal. It's amazing that you can take this source material and do what has been done. It's the best Godzilla movie ever made, and it's also the best wide release movie of the year. So
wow.
I would go so far to say that Takashi Yamazaki, who is the director, is probably the greatest director on the planet right now. And so that's how far I would go with it. It's my number one pick for the year. But the bottom line is that quality really, really matters. This had almost no marketing. It has no domestic release partner. It had half the screens or less as the other big movies. And yet there it is, breaking records, and it'll probably have a fantastic hold. Might even move up to the number 2 spot without a single, well, it has a few words in English in it, but without really any spoken English. Amazing. So, Jonas, given this crazy box office weekend, what are your thoughts on Disney in terms of where do they go from here? And do you think that Elon Musk wants to continue to tango with them, or are we going to move on from this?
Well, first of all, I want to say that if they want to tackle the next hurdle, we need to find out if it is a Godzilla movie that my mother-in-law will love. Elon Musk, it will be interesting to see how quickly the fires die down and what exactly is going on with Bob Iger and Elon Musk as far as advertising goes on Twitter. This is a direct insult to the Disney company, but at the same time, they still have their sponsored organization level accounts. You know, those gold check marks you see. I think those are $1,000 a month. Those are not cheap, although they're not much for the Walt Disney Company to pay for them. Twitter is, of course, I think it's 17th or 18th as far as social media platforms go. But at the same time, it is a critical social media platform because it is the highest concentration of journalists and news and entertainment. I think the closest you can get outside of this is TikTok, which has no discoverability functions to speak of. And also, of course, YouTube, which we are here on, which they'll never leave YouTube. And Reddit, I would say, is the closest you have. And if they have a problem with Twitter, but they don't have a problem with Reddit, I would say that really shows their hand as to where their priorities lie.
Well, we all know that they have been waiting for a time when they could try to take down Twitter, because it is outside of their control, and they do not appreciate that, especially given the sort of year we're going into. They also probably don't appreciate that folks aren't going to see their movies, but the market speaks out. Will the market continue to dislike what is being done by these major corporations, or will everybody just get over it and go back to living their lives and say, I cannot keep up with all of this, and I don't care about Elon Musk, and I don't care about free discourse, I don't care about what's in kids' movies? We don't know. We're going to watch, folks. We're going to pay attention closely to society. And as it happens, when it intersects with entertainment, we will explain it, analyze it, and keep you ahead of the culture curve. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe. When you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Don't forget that if you're watching this video on the day of its release, the 50K live stream celebration, celebrating 50,000 subscribers coming to this channel in just 11 months, it is Monday, December 4th. At 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go for about 2.5 hours. Going to have a big panel, all kinds of fun, all kinds of celebrations. You don't want to miss it. And I guess I will be trolled, roasted, however you want to say it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Jonas, you're having a lot of fun over on That Park Place, the YouTube channel. Tell us a little bit about it.
We haven't hit 50K yet, but we did hit 6,000, which we're pretty pleased with.
And very quickly. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm humbled by it, and I appreciate it. And my response, of course, is to just keep moving forward and keep working on the quality, and keep trying to release good content every single day to the best of our ability. Of course, That Park Place hosts a live stream. Well, currently, the next one will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and you'll want to tune in for some announcements about that as well.
That's right. There will be scheduling changes coming to this channel and to the That Park Place channel. Folks, tune in. We'll have those announcements coming out in the next 24 hours. All right. Well, it has been a joy as always, folks. We say it, we mean it. Truly, when you share your time with us, it is appreciated. We do not take a single person for granted. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and we are pulling for you to keep having fun.
Listen up, my brothers and sisters. You've been listening to Phils and those with an agenda to destroy your brain cells for far too long. It's time to change your way of doing things. Hold up. TPP is the place to be. Covering the news so honestly. It's a team that's cool and tried and true. Ahead of the culture curve, they're trying to keep you. Jonas and Pro, they run the show, and they dragged in the bearded culture casino. You got Valiant and Lord and Fourth of Line. Wonderful people, yeah, they're alright. They got weird bringing in people like Floral, but made no mistake with Lorena Creole. Amelia and John, stuttering guitarist. Martin and Tawny, and someone called CMS. Fats even makes a bunch of other graphics. Did I mention a partnership with Bending in the comics? Fat Sky is a guy, and Doc Matt does the web stuff. There's probably some people I missed. I hope they're not telling you the news that should be fun. With accurate info that's not been spun, you can figure it out as you will see. The TPP is the place to be.
Yeah, Wilton. That was actually pretty good, or white. But I think you might have forgotten Vash.
Well, he lost all his friends. But it was implied.